field at Talladega. So, man, it was badass. Had a great time off. Thank you, Cole, Richie, Cody, for filling in for us, or just actually taking the extra seats and doing what you do. But regardless, Freak Nation, we got Horsepower Hump Day for you today. And again, Sunday night, it's going to be an extravaganza. We're hoping we're going to be able to pull this thing off. You're going to have Cole Cusimano and Crasher. They're going to be hanging out at WorldWide Technology Raceway for the prime time IndyCar Series race, 8 p.m. Eastern, by the way, Freak Nation, on Fox from WorldWide Technology Raceway. And I'm going to be in Mexico. Hopefully by that time, I'm going to be back at my hotel, sober that is, with insight and results.
That's questionable.
Need a few margaritas.
Yeah, I hope you have a few margaritas, maybe some cervezas. Yeah. Sober would not be fun.
That's all I need to do is to be lit when I'm in a different country, you're in a different state, and Richie and Cody are here in Phoenix. That's all I need to do, right?
Here's why I want you drunk on Sunday night after the NASCAR Mexico race. Because that means one of our sponsored drivers, our fellow family members in the sponsorship department, is in Victory Circle. Let's go.
I don't need Kyle Busch to get drunk.
Why not?
I know, but that means you are celebrating in the
Carson Hocevar. I don't care.
I get that. But I'm saying you would take your celebration to the next level if it was one of our family members.
Got it. Crasher's onto something there, Freak Nation. Thank you guys for being a part of this big old thing. Again, Speed Freaks with Horsepower Hump Day, typically 2 o'clock on Wednesdays, 5 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays, and of course 7 to 9 Pacific and 10 to midnight Eastern on Sunday nights. God, all these times. Racer, noon, Mondays, Pacific and Eastern. Oh, see there, I told you, man, trying to get back in the swing of having all this stuff down. My God.
Doesn't roll off the tongue as easily.
But according to our crack staff here, Crasher, you and I evidently missed a hell of a race.
Yeah, apparently. You guys need to debrief us. The Freak Nation is obviously with you guys on how amazing Michigan was.
But by the way, let's tease this. Graham Rahal coming up in the Freak Nation. We're going to hear from Christian Lundgaard. Lundgaard and Graham Rahal specifically regarding Formula One. Is it a fail or is it spot on what Formula One's doing next year? We'll get to that. Also, the full interview with Graham Rahal as those two drivers get set for WorldWide Technology again Sunday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox from WorldWide Technology. Cole, you got the floor. Sell me on Michigan outside of what I've seen up to that race.
I mean, there's not much else to say that wasn't said on Sunday. It was literally the best race of the season. So I think it exemplified what racing is in NASCAR, the strategy that goes into it, and everything that you need to win one of these Cup Series races. You had fuel mileage, you had tire conservation. Those both came into play in determining the race winner, Denny Hamlin, the villain of the season and the series thus far. Our buddy Carson Hocevar was leading with 20 to go, blew a tire. William Byron, our modern day GOAT here in the Lucas Oil Studios.
Modern day GOAT.
Yeah, he dominated this race again, led almost the entire race, and with 5 to go, had a nice 2-lap side-by-side battle with Denny Hamlin for the lead, lost it, ran out of fuel with 2 to go. And then, the old man took the youngsters to school, but I just could not say enough great things about this race. All the strategy that went into, putting it all together and winning. It was an incredible race. And that's also made evident by Jeff Gluck's poll on Twitter. 92% it was at yesterday.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Wow. 92%. What were the other stats of how many races have been in the 90% department over the last couple of years? Or there was something along those lines? Not many.
There was not many. I know Charlotte, the 600 was, but that's like one of very, very few. So,
well, the only gentleman that was here this weekend seeing the Michigan race outside of myself and Crash is Richard C. Suave, who doesn't mainline NASCAR. What's Richard C. Suave's take on what happened at Michigan, my friend?
I'm glad you brought up from that angle because Cole and I got into this on Sunday, and I did a really crappy job of trying to explain myself. So I'm glad you asked me this again so I can hopefully better articulate it. Basically saying that, no, now I'm out on the NASCAR product now in 2025 for the most part. It's just not watchable for me on a consistent basis. The races are too long. This Gen 7 car is absolute trash. It's unwatchable to watch that car most of the time. And so for a race like Michigan to happen and for me to be locked into the final 45 laps, the last stint of that race, you really had to put on some really damn good racing and some really good, compelling drama. And that's what Michigan was.
Okay.
Michigan, the fuel save Michigan strategy was drama at its best. And who was going to run out of fuel, who was going to make it. I love that stuff. That's why I watch sports for the most part, right? I watch because it's dramatic. I watch because of storylines. And Michigan had so many storylines. And then on top of that, it had the great racing, right? The racing, Cole, between, we talked about this on Sunday night, the racing between William Byron and Denny Hamlin for the lead, side by side for 2 entire laps. As somebody who is not a NASCAR snorkeler as much as I used to be, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, NASCAR needed this. And for someone like me who is not as into NASCAR as I was or have been, I love Michigan. It was great. And so bravo NASCAR for putting on the product you did in Michigan, because that was sorely needed. And Amazon as well, I thought did a great job, because that was the first time I was locked in to the entire Amazon broadcast. And a lot of times, I'm off and on, producing stuff, whatever, but I was locked in for the entire final stint. They did a great job. They had their little burn bar going on, right? And it was awesome. I loved it.
Okay. In the 25 years we've been doing Speed Freaks, it's overwhelming in my mind that people complain or have been complaining about fuel mileage races. Has the fan base finally come around? Let the record state, except I think people that have been following us for a while know I've always loved fuel mileage races because it makes engineers go up against each other. It makes strategies really come into play. People started hating it. I don't know when, and I also don't know why. Was it because Danica Patrick won her first and her only IndyCar race because of fuel mileage? A girl can't do that, even though men can do it, and suddenly it's okay. Why suddenly are we okay with it? I love it. I'm not complaining because I've always loved fuel mileage races, but how has the fan base come around all of a sudden?
I think the key word that Richard used there was it was compelling. And why it was compelling was because the Prime broadcast, they brought in so many elements of storytelling, whether it be with the burn bar, the fuel mileage per lap, or even just like going into each team's scanners throughout the last 50 or so laps, running commercial free, by the way. They just did a really good job telling the story of how these guys on the pit box strategize and go about winning these races. Okay,
so I'm cutting you off for a reason here. So we're going into that mode that we've been talking about since Charlotte of, hey, TV partners, whoever you are, for whatever series, it doesn't matter at this point, telling stories wins. And like you said, with the fuel mileage right there, fuel mileage races have been going on for decades, but the fact that they actually had graphics up there and they were explaining and showing you how, here it is, it's shrinking, it's going down, watch this driver versus this driver. That's what fans have wanted forever.
Exactly. And it invites new viewers in to learn the strategy. And I think that's why Steve Letart's such a valuable part of that broadcast. He really does a great job, like breaking things down in a simple way for new listeners and new viewers. But I think it was a very old school race. Like when I think back to like the 2008-ish, 2010 era when I first got into NASCAR, there was a lot of fuel mileage racing. And as a new fan, it really wasn't that engaging for me because I didn't know what was going on and the strategies and all that at play. And you had a lot of the same guys winning, obviously. But like,
that's
hearing them break it down, it really helped out a lot.
So you are one of those people that did not like a fuel mileage race back in the late 2000s, first decade, but now you're good with it. But it's because, let's go back to it, of the storytelling.
That's a big part of it, but also like being in, like watching the sport more and being more involved with it. I'm more appreciative of the strategy element, but that helps a lot. I think if you're a new viewer like I was back then, actually knowing what's going on.
Got it. Because you didn't get it back then, but now,
yeah, definitely.
New viewers now get it.
Unfortunately, there wasn't very many new viewers who tuned in. Because we put out they had the ratings put out today. Adam Stern under 2 million. It was 1.9 million.
That's a shame.
So it's going down. We had the pretty high about from the Coke 600, which was 2.7 ish, right? It was just under 3 million, and then it's been going down ever since. It was just over 2 million this next race. This third race was under 2 million, so that's not good.
But what are we considering a win? And I'm being serious here. What are we considering a win? Considering this is Amazon. And the older fan base has been complaining about how they can't find those races. How dare they go to a streaming service or a service that requires me to purchase? I won't do that. Ugh, whatever, people.
Thank you for trial.
Right, okay. But Motorsports Christmas is always going to get higher ratings for almost everything. You're going to expect a decrease, whether you're Formula One, IndyCar, or NASCAR for the following weekend. But isn't anything over $1.5 million still a win?
I think so.
In Amazon, a new product for NASCAR?
I would say so. And I think a big thing of why there was a drop-off was it wasn't a primetime race. You had the 600 and Nashville that were primetime Sunday night races.
Yeah.
But looking at the numbers from last year on USA Network, they got 2.1 million. So, I mean...
And this was
1.7. So, I mean, it was still a drop-off, obviously. But I think all things considered, this not being a primetime event, this being one of Amazon Prime's first times doing a broadcast for Michigan, I have no problems with it. You know,
I'm going to go on record as saying anything over $1.5 million is a win.
Yeah,
with a new partner.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And again, something that many folks are still not familiar with. It's called streaming, ladies and gentlemen.
The younger demo gets it.
That's how you're watching this damn show right now. And,
okay, so everybody watching us gets it.
Yeah.
It's your parents that don't, maybe.
Well, again, you look at the demographics, there are still older individuals that are watching it, a number of them.
Especially in NASCAR and NHRA.
Granted, we saw the numbers. What'd you say, Richie? A couple of weeks ago, where the numbers dropped once the numbers, the age groups.
The medium age viewership dropped by like 7 or 8 years for NASCAR on Amazon compared
going to Prime.
Yeah, compared to what it was on cable. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Well, you talk about diversity. My goodness, you've got Michigan into Mexico City. We've talked about this, Crasher, for many, many years, where with the current leadership with NASCAR, the diversity that they bring with the number of tracks and the things that they try to attempt with updating the series in and of itself. This is the diversity that we're looking for. Is you're going from, frankly, a surprise to me that Michigan turned out so well. Race I didn't see. I was happy to be on a freaking seaplane or a damn boat watching humpback whales rather than watching a damn NASCAR
Hey,
race.
I think we should just celebrate, regardless of where we are. I think we should celebrate the fact that NASCAR had a successful race. There's been a lot of crap product out there this year. So yay. This package, Cole and I were talking briefly before we went live here, this package seemingly works on big ovals and road courses. It's that damn short course package, or short oval package, I should say, that needs help.
So again, these are back-to-back races that you anticipate are going to be halfway decent, right?
Yes.
With the new experience, I haven't seen anything yet where there's been any issues with crossing the border, getting gear into Mexico.
Except for covering up some sponsors, which is rather humorous to me. But
actually,
share.
Okay, so tobacco products not allowed to be advertised in Mexico. So any of the pouches or let's see, all I can think of right now is Kyle Busch's partner Zone. Those kind of things had to be covered up on haulers. Cody's showing us, yes, this circular thing. Alcohol under a certain percent cannot be advertised in Mexico. So you've got your whiskeys that are being covered up on haulers and on in and around the side pods of cars. What else? Casinos. If it's not a licensed casino in Mexico, then it can't be shown as well. So your BetMGM's going away. I'm using a lot of RCR examples because I've been intricately involved with that team through the Lucas Oil partnership. So I'm seeing all of their announcements come out before any of the others on the BetMGMs, the Zones, the Rebel Bourbons and stuff like that. Bye-bye for the weekend.
But hello, Lucas Oil on the side of Kyle Busch's hot rod.
That's right.
Mexico City.
And the last time he raced there, what happened? Victory Lane. Victory Lane, the Xfinity race. Way back when, but it was a win.
I know it's Wednesday, but what are the odds? What are the top 5 odds there, Cole Cusimano, for the money stop, which drops every Friday, 7 a.m. Eastern on our YouTube page.
Yeah, so right now the shortest odds for the race win, shocker here, is Shane Van Gisbergen plus 350. He's a heavy favorite actually over Christopher Bell.
That shocked me.
It is, yeah, for that heavy of a favorite for this big of an unknown. I agree. Christopher Bell's right behind him plus 550. Then you got William Byron plus 600 and Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick tied for the fourth shortest odds at plus 700. Kyle Busch plus 900. So right outside the top 5.
I'm surprised he's not higher up. But the whole SVG thing and why, okay, how do the lines get set? they're set by insiders, right?
Mhm.
So some of the insiders are like, well, look what he did in Chicago, sight unseen. Guess what? This is Mexico City, sight unseen. I
Mhm.
don't think we're going to have a situation much like that. That also had rain involvement, and
Yeah.
SVG just said, bye, everyone. But I think that there's something to that as to why the lines were set as they
Well,
were.
I think what Cole is saying, it's the number that they're laying on the guy. I
350,
don't have a
yeah.
problem with him being one of the favorites.
One of the
But what did you say?
favorites,
The
right.
plus 350?
It's plus 350 to Bell's plus 550. Is the
Yeah,
same
it's
Yeah.
like
sort of odds.
I texted the group yesterday because I was looking at DraftKings odds, and it shocked me that, granted, he should be one of the 3 favorites for this race. I agree. He is one of the best. He's Cole. You'll get into this on the money stop, but I was looking this up yesterday because I was curious. His average finish on road courses is still one of the best in the NASCAR Cup Series
Mhm.
in a very small sample size, regardless. So he should be one of the favorites. But when he's plus 330 and Christopher Bell is plus 700 on DraftKings, that's what really shocked me. I was like,
Mhm.
it's really hard in motorsports to have that big of a favorite.
Yeah.
And so that would be my advice to everybody out there is, for me anyway, that's too big of a favorite for Shane Van Gisbergen to me.
I agree. Yeah, it
That's-
feels like a trap.
Yeah, I've like Kyle Larson was the same way for the Indianapolis 500,
Exactly where I was
where
going.
he was in the top 5, top
Yeah.
10 to try and because he's a name and people know him, and so they're trying to get people baited into it, and I just don't see it happening. So, because like Christopher Bell, I like him at plus 700.
Mhm.
I like Tyler Reddick plus 800. Like there's some good value. There's
great
Cole. I am
value.
so excited for the money stop this week because there is money to be made this weekend, baby.
Big
Money
time.
to be
Yeah.
made.
Oh yeah.
There really is. Because if you've got, what did you say Reddick is? 800?
Plus 800 on DraftKings.
Mhm.
And I
I
know
was gonna say, you guys, it's also drastically
It's a little
different.
bit
You guys are
different from
looking
book
at
to book,
two
yeah.
different
Yeah.
things. Wow. Because you said 550 for
Bell.
Christopher Bell and you said 700.
Yeah.
Which that's our excellent value. I think,
Yeah.
in my opinion, he should be the favorite.
Yeah.
I mean, he
Mhm.
won COTA earlier this year. He's already got 3 road course wins in the Cup Series. One of the best on these style tracks. So
I'll take that 900 on Kyle Busch, who didn't win COTA but was close.
hey, he's got some great values. Top 5 prop plus 120 above even payout.
Ooh.
Could be a good one.
Hello, do it. Do it.
Which also leads into a snappy topic that dropped earlier regarding Formula One. The track courses where Formula One has run, where NASCAR is running coming up on Sunday. And the news dropped. I'm not sure what day it was. It was early or middle, whatever the hell it was.
The
last week.
official news, because we all talked about it last
Yeah,
week.
Cole
You
and I
guys
talked.
about
Cole
it
and I talked
Wednesday.
about on
Right.
last week's show, and I had my little rant. So
Yeah. And we saw all the rumors last week, and we're like, no, that's not going to happen. Well, it officially did yesterday.
We've got several drivers that want to pontificate about Formula One now for 2026, at least right now. Crasher seems to think it might change. But for 2026, the Canadian Grand Prix, Formula One Canadian Grand Prix, will be running on the same day, right around the same time as the Indianapolis 500.
Yep.
And we've got, again, several drivers that, one, frankly, surprised me. But a gentleman who was working his way up through the ranks of Formula One in the feeder system is Christian Lundgaard, flying the Lucas Oil colors, running for Arrow McLaren. His interview is just fantastic. We'll probably run the full interview coming up Sunday night. But again, here's a dude that you ask him about Formula One running on the same date as the world's greatest race.
And again, for those Formula One fans who want to chime in, so what? Monaco's been on the same date. No.
Mm-mm.
It's not just same date. It's same time on the same continent in the same time zone. That is complete head-to-head. It's not like it's breakfast and lunch, morning and afternoon. It is absolutely the same time. That's the problem here. I'm getting tired of that argument on social media.
Christian Lundgaard on Formula One going head-to-head with the IndyCar Series. Where does Christian Lundgaard stand with Formula One and the Indianapolis 500 going head-to-head next year?
How do I say this politely? No, at the end of the day, I think, the fans that knows what the Indianapolis 500 is about will be there. And I think that's kind of where I'm at. And I think it just shows that they're trying to show who's the boss. But at the end of the day, I think it's just stupid of them from them. And I have no, reason or even want to even focus on it, because at the end of the day, I can't do anything about it. And I think for me, it's just important to kind of let them do whatever they want to do. I'm not in control. I'm not doing the schedules. But it's about us trying to do, obviously, because we are the faces of the sport, right? And I think it's also important for us to raise the points where it's why we're doing this and why aren't we doing that. So we're obviously not gonna move our leg. We know why we're racing on the weekend. We are Memorial Weekend, so it's just stupid of that.
My bad.
Stupid is the key word there. Stupid. Stupid is as stupid does.
And Crasher, there was a nugget that you dropped in this interview, or it was, I think it was just off the cuff, where Liberty Media, which owns Formula One, is also part owner in Meyer Shank Racing.
Yes, and the thing is, we don't know to what extent. We know it's a percentage. It's a lower percentage, but it's a percentage nonetheless. And is it just because that's a part of their investment portfolio and they benefit off sponsorships there? I don't know. So until we can really get into a full discussion on how that affects, how anything that the Meyer Shank Racing IndyCar team does, how that affects anything on the Formula One side of Liberty Media owning Formula One, we would need to know what actually
Liberty Media has a 30% share of Meyer Shank Racing per their website.
But is it just an investment sort of thing?
Who cares?
Are they making
30%
decisions?
share of Meyer Shank Racing?
So Mike Shank should be absolutely livid right now that his co-owner is saying, hey, we're going to go race right up head to head with you and your 2 teams or 3 teams if Elio comes again next year in the Indy 500.
Correct.
We know Zach Brown's pissed. I would like to hear from Mike Shank and hear exactly what are these arguments that are going on behind closed doors. I want to hear this.
It's such a strange play.
It is.
It's a very strange play. For at one time, Liberty Media was in the market to buy the IndyCar series and Indianapolis Motor Speedway. That didn't happen.
That didn't happen because Tony George at the time didn't want to relinquish it. But when he did want to relinquish it, he only went to Roger Penske, and the rest is history. But yeah, now we're kind of like, oh, if only. But whatever.
And the $1 billion bank that's part of IndyCar, and I'm talking about Roger Penske and all the crazy money that's involved with these other race cars, it just seems, again, like a very strange play. Like there's more to the story of why this happened. It sounds like to me that when NASCAR and Bruton Smith wanted to say, you know what? IndyCar's got their 500. Let's create a longer race and get you the Coca-Cola 600, not at the same time, but the same night. It was in your face to IndyCar.
At the time.
Crasher, when IndyCar, when split, it became Champ Car and whatever the hell they were, IRL. What IndyCar did is they ran
the Michigan 500.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of Michigan International Speedway, and what happened at that race? First lap crash that took out a third of the field. It was awful. It was absolutely awful.
This is, you just can't go, we made a mistake. It's the scheduling issues. I just think there's more to it.
There is more to it. And I see all the excuses on social media of, well, it's only once every 5 years. Okay, fine. There's still, if you're going to claim, as F1 has, that this is a sustainability practice, that they want to stay on the same continent because they don't want to have all these travel expenses and fuel inefficiencies going on back and forth from continent to continent, Miami, and then back to Europe, and then over to Canada. Okay, I get that. And that's a very noble thought process. But you can't claim sustainability if you're going to have Miami the first weekend of May and then 3 weeks off to get slowly snail's pace up across the border to Canada. That doesn't quite fit that narrative. 3 weeks off. Okay, then you can claim weather. It's going to be cold and arguably snowy in May in Montreal. Yes, there is that. But guess what? Indy's kind of in that same weather issue. And we've also got this global warming thing going on. You're more likely than not to have warmer weather come right now than you are going to have a snow-covered Montreal Grand Prix. It's just there's also Montreal Grand Prix organizers. Why is NASCAR not back there? Let me just throw that out there as well. They're a little difficult to work with. So not all of this should lie on Formula One's hands. Montreal Grand Prix organizers aren't the innocent party here either.
My only defense for the entire situation, as stupid as it is, and you can go back and watch it on last week's show, so I'm not going to reiterate all what I said on last week's show, and I got really angry about this. But the good thing is that for most part, people you can two-screen the experience. So I saw somebody make this joke. I don't know who it was. I don't forget who it was, but they were like, oh, well, looks like Apple sales are going to go up because everybody's going to have to buy their iPad so they can two-screen, so they can watch the Indy 500.
I think Felix Rosenquist, IndyCar driver, said something like that.
Maybe it was Felix. Yeah, I think you're right.
Liberty Media driver.
I think you're right. Yeah, so it's going to be a two-screen experience, albeit with like 90% of eyes going to the Indianapolis 500. I will say this, and I brought this up last week too, so I was curious to get Kenny Crush's thoughts on this. I think there is a big enough gap in between both races to get Canada in.
I think so too. I agree with that.
I think there's about a 2-hour gap between checker flag and green flag in both races. It takes about an hour and a half to finish a Formula One race. If they were smart, they'd go. That's what they would do, and I honestly think this is what they're going to do. I think they're going to push back the start just a little bit because they have all the daylight in the world on the East Coast there in Canada.
Exactly.
And you go as soon as the checker flag falls in Indianapolis, that's when you go green in Canada. And once Canada wraps up, basically you're going to go green flag with the 600. And granted, the biggest drawback is that Formula One is a worldwide thing, and so that's when they generally will set their times. They're not beholden to just the U.S. TV market like Indianapolis,
Las Vegas.
They changed it this year because of that too. So that's the solution here. That is my kumbaya solution. Is you don't have to go head to head F1. You do it afterwards. You get in your hour and a half, and guess what? Because you're not in competition with NASCAR. NASCAR is going to get your 3 million eyeballs. And so just go get your 2 million people to tune in between races and call it a day.
And benefit off of the Indy 500 hangover.
Yeah.
And people are like, now what? I can't wait until NASCAR.
Which completely random,
F1.
digging a little bit of a rabbit hole, but they do not have a TV partner for next year yet because their TV rights with ESPN are expiring after the end of this year, and they have yet to clinch or sink a deal with anybody as of yet. So we don't know where you're going to be able to watch Formula One races on television next year, at least.
Hey, Amazon, pick them up because then you'll make sure that it doesn't overlap with the Coke 600.
True.
And then you've got an audience that can play together, and Amazon's not going to F with the Indy 500. So,
Well, I don't want to take credit for this. I'm going to steal a line from Cole Cusimano. IndyCar is Formula One's bitch.
Without question.
Formula One will do whatever the freak they want to do.
Yep.
We're trying to act like these are a couple of niceties, and they're going arm in arm as they're walking down the freaking bricks at Indianapolis 500. No, Liberty Media is going to do whatever the hell they want to do. I understand it sounds great, but it's not just America. It's like Richie said, it's South America, it's Europe, it's Asia, it's all these markets. It's the billion people that are going to be watching the damn race where they make their freaking bank. It didn't necessarily, I don't give a shit about when the Indy 500's running. It's too bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right?
Well, okay. We could also take this then, the conversation to the whole IndyCar on Fox marketing campaign of the fastest racing on earth, and how NHRA fans, please understand that this very topic that we're talking about right now is the reason why Fox went with that campaign, because they know the hatred of F1 and IndyCar and how the fan bases like to butt heads, and how F1 likes to claim they're faster than IndyCar, and IndyCar likes to say, get your asses to Indianapolis then and prove it. This is why that campaign is happening.
Graham Rahal, who, of course, is, 300 races?
This weekend at WWT Raceway will be his 300th IndyCar start.
Holy smokes.
Yeah.
We caught up with him earlier. We will run the full interview coming up in about 10 minutes. But here's Graham Rahal's take on Formula One, which, again, it's a different take here in the Freak Nation.
So Formula One coming out this week and saying, hey, we're going to put our Montreal race dead head-to-head with the Indy 500 because our drivers, they didn't say this, I'm paraphrasing, because our drivers are worthy of that. That's a slap in the face, isn't it? Even though they're coming out right now and saying, no, it's not a slap in the face to IndyCar.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's scheduling. I really do believe when they say there's scheduling conflicts, because we've lived that. Ask Jay Fry, who now runs our team. But the reality is that wasn't a smart move. And I don't think it's necessary either, like to try to go head to head with the biggest race in the world on the same continent. I don't think it's smart. I think, it could have been thought through a lot more. However, I honestly don't think they really pull much from each other. I mean, Montreal is a great track, but Montreal is typically a race that most of the fans are from Montreal. The Indy 500 is not that. The Indy 500 is from 50 plus countries or whatever it was this year, for people all over. My sense is that they don't really hurt each other much. Now, obviously, the biggest thing will be the TV rating when they go head to head, and that'll be interesting to see what the effects are. But you know what? I mean, Formula One's riding high. They've had it their way for a long time. They've got a lot of money to spend on a lot of things. And, as IndyCar, we just need to stay true to ourselves and focus on the things that we can do better, and we'll be fine.
Let's go into that scheduling conflict that he was talking about. He said all motorsport series have scheduling conflicts. He's well aware of that. Another thing Cole and Richie and Cody and I were talking about before we went live here is this coming up weekend is a massive scheduling conflict that I think Formula One and NASCAR and arguably IndyCar could have done better. This granddaddy weekend is the 24 Hours of Le Mans. And if we're going to get all butthurt about the Indy 500 being second hit or second fiddle on what should be their big weekend, we should be doing the same for the 24 Hours of Le Mans. We should all, as motorsports fans and as a motorsports family, we should be putting our hyper focus on that race this weekend, not NASCAR in Mexico City, not IndyCar in prime time. So that aside, let's say it wasn't 24 Hours of Le Mans, then IndyCar and NASCAR have their own issues. Everybody wanted to see Pato Award in Mexico City, but NASCAR goes to Mexico City and then IndyCar has a race the exact same weekend. You had a weekend off last weekend. Why couldn't we have made those changes? So all series are guilty when it comes to scheduling issues. And could you look beyond your own self-interest and try to make things better for the sport as a whole? Because essentially all motorsports are competing against stick and ball, whether that's soccer around the world or right now baseball, and then later on in the season football in America. They all should be doing better.
My take on this is more power to Formula One. Let them do what they want to do. What IndyCar and Fox should do is take their junk, lay it out on the table. This is our race. Come out here and come freaking get it. It's like the National Football League, come and get us. Come and freaking get us. The
True.
IndyCar series and that race specifically, come and get us, bitches.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay, let's take it another step, though. Should NASCAR try to figure something out in their Amazon and Fox packages in which they keep Fox for Charlotte and they make it a huge Fox versus Formula One day?
I don't know, Crash. I have my doubts with those that are running the IndyCar series that they don't have the knowledge, the know-how, or the stones to say, F you, Formula One. Do whatever you want to do. This is our G-Dam race. It's the most popular race on the planet. You even hear Formula One drivers once, and Lundgaard talks about it. Once you go when he went to his first race was when he raced
his first 500.
Was the first time he went to the race. And he said he understands it. He freaking understands it. So,
but being over in Europe, he didn't as a kid. As a kid growing up, his dream was Formula One. Once he got to the 500, he was like, oh, this is way different.
I would have no problem. In fact, I would have both feet on the IndyCar bandwagon if they went after Formula One.
Yeah, I'd support it.
Where they say, bruh, we go 240. These guys are going 140. Oh, that's kilometers.
Well,
I know they don't. They go faster than that.
They go faster.
I would rather than go after them in your face programming and promotions, because Liberty doesn't give a shit about IndyCar. They don't care about NASCAR.
They have to give a little shit. They have 30% of Meyer Shank.
They don't give a shit. They've got this.
They have 30% shit take.
I don't know if Roger Penske has the sack to go after these guys it's just what we did. It's what we did in radio. And radio neutered itself with the conglomerates where we had a competitor in the market and we went freaking after them. They were sponsoring Van Halen. We had our van there in front of the concert, and we were passing out Van Halen T-shirts saying the unofficial station Q102 of Van Halen. You just went after your competitors.
Yeah, guerrilla marketing.
And there are some very smart, younger generational type companies that still do that. Remember the old commercial, Apple going up against Microsoft?
Yeah,
Right?
and the PC guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Come on, IndyCar.
Genius.
Get after it.
I forgot about
Let's go.
those. Yeah.
You're 100% right, because I think IndyCar is way too slow to react. Over the last 5 years, as Formula One has grown in popularity, and I mentioned this at the very beginning of the season. I said IndyCar is not taking on NASCAR anymore. They're not in competition with NASCAR whatsoever. NASCAR has double the audience that they have built in pretty much on a consistent basis, no matter where they are outside of the last race in Michigan. But I digress. So they are competing with Formula One for those same eyeballs, and they're losing for the most part, right? Formula One seemingly has that anymore, despite a bad TV time slot. Most weeks, they're still getting 1.5 million people, which was double what IndyCar was getting earlier this season on Fox,
Including
right?
Long Beach.
And so they're so slow to react. And if they were smart, they do exactly what you're saying, Kenny. And they're not smart enough to do it. I'm sorry, they're not.
I think Doug Bowles is. I think Mark Miles is not. Sorry to call him out by name, but I just don't. I haven't seen it from Mark Miles in 10 years. I think if you allow Doug Bowles to get in there and really get things dirty, please. That's what everybody wants.
Going to Fox Sports helped a lot.
Absolutely, without question.
Yes.
Without question.
That was
was Mark Miles a part of that? Sure. But
yes.
Listen, when you've got a network talking about Joseph Newgarden's sperm, that opens the door for everything to go after him.
Yeah.
We have someone that's worked on the exterior of our house who's I would say a mid-level motorhead. His dad's more of a NASCAR fan, but this is the problem. What IndyCar has, what Richie's talking about, is when I said we're going to the Indianapolis 500, he said, "Are those the Formula One cars?"
Yeah.
Listen, when I was 10 years old, I didn't know the difference between the IHRA and the NHRA. Just give me a loud ass funny car and we're good to go. I couldn't tell the difference between a 125 and a 250 in Supercross motocross in 1976, but we're in a different age, a different time. And again, getting back to the whole identification of these series, it's IndyCar versus Formula One. He didn't say, "Oh, are those the Cup cars that are going to run the Indy 500?" No, he said, "Is that Formula One?"
He knew in his head it was a Formula rocket ship looking type car, but what defaulted in his mind was F1, not IndyCar. And that's a problem. That's a real problem. And it's been a problem pre-Fox, pre-SpeedFreaks 25 years ago. That's been a problem with IndyCar. So something has to drastically change to update the mentality.
IndyCar needs a $1 billion movie. That's what they need.
Which you've already got your tickets for.
I bought my tickets, yes, but I will be going opening night to see F1 the movie. Can you imagine? That'd be so sick. Like it's like IndyCar the movie, and then you.
Oh, we had
it's
it.
a freaking snail.
Driven.
Snail.
Oh, and now we're going back to
turbo.
Hey, you cannot deny that our daughter at the 5-6 age group loved that movie. And is she still an IndyCar fan? Yeah, it's probably because of us. Probably not because of the movie, but she is still a fan.
Dig my eyes out with a shovel. That and that stupid Woody Woodpecker movie just drove me bananas when she wanted to watch those stupid movies.
Oh God!
They were certainly not going after. Hey, look, I'd rather sit through 2 hours of Bluey that I've already seen because it's got more adult humor in there than a freaking snail beating a guy that looks like Alexander Rossi in Indianapolis 500.
We need a Bluey IndyCar next year.
Because Cole and I talked about it last week. Me, Cole, and Cody, we talked about it, and we were casting our fan cast for the Days of Thunder movie sequel that was allegedly in development. And it's that's like NASCAR's version of that, right? IndyCar needs the same thing. IndyCar the movie, and you cast Glenn Powell in the movie, and I'd be sick.
I mean, even cars, like going back to the turbo animation deal, like that did wonders for NASCAR and still does. I feel like to this day. So yeah,
especially
it
with kids. But that also was a good adult movie.
Yeah,
I mean, adults didn't mind watching cars.
Graham Rahal was doing quite well last year at WorldWide Technology Raceway until his engine took a dump. Certainly, I would say a top 10 favorite to win at WorldWide Technology Raceway,
yep.
Graham Rahal.
And
Big-
Jay Fry's done some changes in that team. Just
Certainly
gonna
has.
put that out there
Jay
too.
Fry, who once was employed by the IndyCar series, is now employed by Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan, Arrow, McLaren, Newer,
Stop it.
Stoplight, Red Light, Go.
Drop
Hammers.
light. Not
Drop
Arrow
light.
McLaren. Not Arrow.
But when Graham rolls in here, he just basically speaks his mind. But my God, he's got another kid on the way. I don't know how the son bitch does it. What's that?
Graham Rahal is plus 6,000 for the race win. That is the 18th shortest, or I guess you could say longest odds for the race win.
Dude,
Per BetMGM.
$10.
Do it. Yeah.
$10.
I mean, it's
Interesting.
gonna be hard to unseat Joseph Newgarden, except for the fact that there's new Penske leadership on top of his pit box. It's not going to be like it has been the last couple of years, but oof. Honda's won everything this year. How is a Chevy going to finally pull one out? There's that.
Well, that's how you kick it off with
Okay.
Graham Rahal. Here in the Freak Nation Horsepower Hump Day, Lucas Oil Studios. Freak Nation, he's back. Graham Rahal, friend of the Freak Nation. Graham, we're celebrating 25 years coming up in a couple of weeks here in the Freak Nation. You've been coming in since you were freaking 15. Now you've got
25.
Yeah. You really have, haven't you? Yeah, you really have.
Close. 2005, I think, was the first one I did with you guys. I think it was
Yeah.
at Sebring and Star Mazda.
Yep.
It was, yes.
See, now
You
that,
and-
that just shows you how memorable you guys are, because I can't remember what I had for dinner last night. So
Sorry,
that's-
Courtney.
Yeah.
We had you, we had Marco and Sellers. Brian Sellers, right?
Mhm.
Wow.
Good
Holy
times.
shit.
Yeah.
Sebring. And then we went over to the zoo and we were inducted into that Hall of Fame.
Mhm.
Woo.
Nice. I don't know if that's one to be proud of.
Well, my point, Graham, is all right. You've got another baby on the way. We were talking about Ducati dealerships, Ducati teams, car ownerships, race car teams, driver. There's a song from Rolling Stones called "Mother's Little Helper," and we all know what the hell that is. What's Daddy's little helper to get you through this? Because I have one kid, and I'm freaking bone tired.
Well, I'll be honest with you. My helper is definitely Courtney, because she, frankly, gets stuck with a lot of that. Yeah, I mean, I try to be as present as I can with the kids each and every day. But for me, yeah, I mean, if I didn't have her and really, too, everybody's always like, oh, you guys must have a nanny, which we don't. She's always done it on her own. So, but I'm pretty sure she's about ready to kill me at this stage. So, but that's the helper.
No, she's not, because this is exactly how she was raised. And being a little girl at the racetrack with a lot of siblings, I mean, this is normal. And I like watching this because it's the evolution of the next generation of the families that we know and love. And I've seen it with the Dixon kids, and they just become natural at the racetrack. They have their own lives, whether it's dance or horses or what have you, but then they are very comfortable at the racetrack as well. I think there's something to be said for that.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. Like, my girls look forward all the time. Harlan's always like, Dad, let's go to the bus. Can we go hang out at the bus? I'm like, like, they love it. They think it's more fun than being at home, for sure, is to go and sit in the motorhome and do nothing, apparently. But yeah, I mean, they love it. It's a huge part of their lives. And obviously for Courtney and I, it's been a huge part of ours. So, it's definitely, it's special. I'm bummed this weekend for WorldWide Technology Raceway that they're not going to be with me on Father's Day weekend. Mm-hmm. Nor will they be at Road America, I don't think. So, that's a bit of a bummer, but such is life and such is racing life, right? I mean, as much as you try to be and want to be home, you're often taken away as well.
Freak Nation, Graham Rahal joining us here with the Freaks. And let's get right into that, though. We ask it specifically about WorldWide Technology Raceway. Granted, we're partners of theirs, but the excitement from you bastards running this race is bananas, and the different opinion on why they like WorldWide Technology is even more impressive to me. What does Graham think of the track?
Well, I was one of the guys, that really pushed to get it back. It's obviously in a good market for IndyCar racing, being close to Indianapolis. And last year was a tremendous race. If you remember, I actually had an engine failure, so I was out mid race. So I got to watch a lot of it, and it was awesome. I mean, it was awesome to watch. And so, to me, I think it's one of the best pure races of the year now. I think it's going to be tremendous to watch and be a part of. And, for us on our team in particular, on the OneCure Honda, we feel that we've made some great progress on the short ovals. We actually tested in Milwaukee this week, and I went 8 or 9 tenths of a second faster than I qualified last year on a green track, which was huge. So I think that we've gotten a lot better. Having said that, actually, we were pretty competitive at WorldWide Technology last year until the engine failure. We were running very well. So I'm excited to get there. I'm excited for the race. Prime time Sunday night on Fox, right? 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern time. I was saying this is my 300 start this weekend. That will make you guys feel old too. And I've never done a Sunday night race. We've always done Saturday night, but Sunday night race is something new, and I think it's pretty sweet. So we'll see how it goes.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, 300. Where does the time go, Graham? This is just
I don't know.
But with the summer,
it goes quick. It goes quick. I know that.
With the summer grind, because there's WorldWide Technology Raceway, and then you alluded to Road America. You've got street circuits, you've got road courses, you've got short ovals. Is Iowa still a doubleheader? I mean, you've got all these different things that go on in your summer. And like Kenny alluded to earlier as well, and being a dad, how do you mentally decompress from everything else and just focus on race weekends?
I don't know. I'll be honest. I don't. But I actually am one of the few that I think I like to get into the rhythm of the summer and knock these races out and get to the end of the year. And then I can sit at home and drink beer and watch Ohio State football. For me though, in all seriousness, I like the rhythm of go, 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 go. That's my personality type. That is not good on the teams, though. It's not easy for the teams. These guys are, they're dead right now. The amount of work that has gone in has been insane. But as a driver, you're spoiled because you just show up on the weekends, you do your thing, show up to the tests, whatever. And so I typically like that pattern of movement. And so I don't mind it. Particularly, obviously, WorldWide Technology, but then you go to Road America, which is about the greatest weekend of the entire year. Obviously you got Toronto right after that, or I don't know, there may be some other Mid-Ohio, Toronto, Iowa, I don't know. They all blend together, but it's a good run of races that are all quite different. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
That are all quite different, which also proves to the worldwide race fans, I would imagine, I would hope, that you guys are the most diverse talent. You can conquer anything on any given weekend. That elevates your status as a series, as drivers. So Formula One coming out this week and saying, hey, we're going to put our Montreal race dead head-to-head with the Indy 500 because our drivers, they didn't say this, I'm paraphrasing, because our drivers are worthy of that. That's a slap in the face, isn't it? Even though they're coming out right now and saying, no, it's not a slap in the face to IndyCar.
Yeah, I'm sure there's schedule. I really do believe when they say there's scheduling conflicts because we've lived that. Ask Jay Fry, who now runs our team. But the reality is that wasn't a smart move. And I don't think it's necessary either, to try to go head-to-head with the biggest race in the world on the same continent. I don't think it's smart. I think, that it could have been thought through a lot more. However, I honestly don't think they really pull much from each other. Montreal is a great track, but Montreal is typically a race that most of the fans are from Montreal. The Indy 500 is not that. The Indy 500 is from 50 plus countries or whatever it was this year for people all over. My sense is that they don't really hurt each other much. Now, obviously, the biggest thing will be the TV rating when they go head to head, and that'll be interesting to see what the effects are. But you know what? I mean, Formula One's riding high. They've had it their way for a long time. They've got a lot of money to spend on a lot of things. And, you know, as IndyCar, we just need to stay true to ourselves and focus on the things that we can do better, and we'll be fine.
Graham Rahal joining us here in the Freak Nation. Graham, we've asked Kyle Kirkwood, Nolan Siegal, Christian Lundgaard, and I want your opinion on this. We've made a big deal out of having an oval immediately following Indianapolis 500. All three of these guys had different answers. Where does Graham Rahal stand with an oval immediately following the Indianapolis 500 versus
I don't
the
think
street
it matters
course?
at all. I don't think it matters at all. I think everybody, you know, likes this in theory, but I mean, I don't think it really matters. I mean, I just don't think it matters. I think as long as wherever you're going to, you know, puts on a good show, I'm not really sure that it has a direct effect. I know what people say. Oh, well, you go from 7 million viewers for the Indy 500 down to 1.1 million or 1.2 million or whatever it was for Detroit. You know, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but it's always been that way.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's always been that way since my dad races and everybody else. So I don't think going to an oval means that you're suddenly going to get more viewers. And honestly, the crowd at Detroit, I'm normally fairly critical, as you guys know. Crowd at Detroit was actually like much busier. The Kathy's even nodding over here. Like, it was a lot busier than it was in years past. A lot. So, like, to me, I don't know. And then Chris Blair, you know, at WorldWide Technology, I spoke to Chris a lot of time, you know, up significantly on their pre-solds, but a lot of first-time buyers buying tickets. That is a good sign, right? That is a positive trend for our sport. So to me, you know, we just got to keep chugging along.
Yeah, the bottom line, I think at this point, that momentum from the month of May now needs to come into just plain give us exciting races and a little bit of entertainment every single weekend, and people will stay. And that's what this series does. So now we just need to figure out, maybe via social media, how to just help to keep them.
And I think that the more important part is consistent schedule.
Boom.
Because,
yep.
Like, for me, you know, Gateway or WorldWide Technology, it's moved a lot over the last few years. Okay. Laguna Seca moved a lot. Was the last race there. Then it was in June. Now it's, what is it? August. That's hard.
Mm-hmm.
But also the start of the year was hard. Race, everyone's like, oh, the TV rating was bad. Well, TV rating would be bad for anything if you race and then take 3 weeks off and race again a month later. Fans can't follow that. I mean, love it or hate it, the one thing you know about NASCAR is if you're bored midday on a Sunday, there's probably a NASCAR race on every weekend.
So true.
I mean, it's true. It's consistent. You know it's there. I mean, I know that personally. I'm not, you know, I love seeing Larson do well and guys that I'm friendly with, but I'm not going to sit and watch a 3.5 hour NASCAR race. There's no chance. But my point is that if I've got nothing to do midday, I'll probably click it on. But I know it's there. And that's the thing where we struggled at the start of the year. We'd race, take forever off, then we'd race again. The one thing I'm seeing Fox do really well too, obviously this is unique this weekend, be primetime Sunday. But if you look at the majority of the races are a midday Eastern time start, like 12:20, every one of them, which is awesome. So to me, it's more consistent in the scheduling, is a bigger difference maker to the TV rating and all of that stuff than anything else. The at-track crowds, the road and street courses are always going to be better than the ovals. I'm sorry to tell you, but that's just, that's the way that it is. So, you know, to me, which is weird because the ovals, you can see everything. But that's just the way it's going to be too.
Graham Rahal here in the Freak Nation. We'll have the full Graham Rahal interview coming up Sunday night, which Cole dropped on us when I said Graham Rahal wouldn't be a bad underdog to pick for WorldWide Technology. Under the Lights, 8 p.m. Eastern on Fox. You said 8,000?
Plus 6,000.
Plus 6,000.
18th longest odds to win.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Honda, solid run last year before. Oops, that Honda fail. Let's just say, I'd say that's a good long shot.
Remind the Freak Nation, Crasher, how many times Chevys have won this season? Cetera.
Crickets, anyone?
Yep. There you go. And how many different race winners have we had this year, Crasher? Yeah.
Kirk or Kyle, don't call me Kirkwood, and Alex Pillow. Yep.
It is going to be I'm trying to convince myself a fun weekend, but from a technological standpoint, I'm just engulfed on how we make this thing work.
That's fair.
Because Crasher and Cole will be in the media center at WorldWide Technology Raceway. The race may not even be over.
I was just going to say during the closing laps of the IndyCar race.
And those are the best. I mean, it is for any race. I get it. But for IndyCar specifically, it's the last 15, 20 laps that you just need to be engaged.
Mm-hmm. So you're saying if Cole and I are not paying attention when we are live on our show, Speed Freaks Sunday night, it's okay?
Yeah, justified.
It's going to be Suave and Cody and yours truly. I'm going to be hanging out in my hotel room, the Hilton downtown de la Mexico City.
Why didn't we wear sombreros today?
Valid.
I can't do everything, guys.
If you don't wear a sombrero on Speed Freaks Sunday night, it's a fail.
Speed Freak sombrero.
Yep. Let's see it.
Those things would sell like hotcakes.
Man,
you need to.
Isn't that kind of like in your face though?
No, it's happy party joy.
It's like, and typical American.
For good measure, have a margarita in your hand too.
Okay, I can do that. But just have a freaking sombrero on. It's like, I'm going to Texas. Good, put on some cowboy boots.
See, I was just going to say, spoken from a born and raised Texan who you would get upset if people said, oh, did you ride a horse to school with your cowboy boots and cowboy hat? It's not, I
said, well, you're from a part of the country where a lot of their axe murderers. Are people still murdering your kids as they walk to school, you happy bastard?
Oh,
axe murderers.
My God. Wow.
So stick around. Well, come back around Sunday night for the Mexico recap. So I'll be there. Cole, the Crasher, will be in St. Louis with our friends WorldWide Technology Raceway. Go to www.raceway.com for more information. And as I believe in the interview, I don't know if it was in there. Regardless, I meant to tell you guys about this before you dropped last week. Ticket sales are up for WorldWide Technology Raceway.
Oh, Graham just talked about this. Yeah.
And ticket sales are way up for new patrons coming into the race.
That's awesome.
New fans.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, we like that.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. So again, catch a Sunday night if you want to see either a freaking S show south of the border.
Meaning us, Speed Freaks. Is the technology going to work? Because NASCAR is not going to have an S show. They're going to have an amazing product.
Mm-hmm. It's
That's going to be fun.
Yep.
Tune in to watch our disaster unfold.
It's awesome. All right, man. We'll do it again on Sunday night, 9 to 11 Central, which is where you guys will be, 10 to midnight Eastern, and 7 to 9 Pacific. I'm on Central Time, right? Mexico City?
I have no idea what time zone you're going to be in. You're either Central or Mountain. Yeah, I don't know.
Probably Mountain. I would think Mountain, no?
I hope I'm freaking Central.
Let's see.
Yeah, why don't you fact check that real quick?
Time zone
Central,
is
yeah.
Oh, so you'll be with us. Okay.
Bang. There you go. All right, Freak Nation. Website, speedfreaks.tv. Be sure you like and, of course, subscribe to Official Speed Freaks on YouTube. Later.